The world does not reward honesty. It rewards strategy. No matter how gentle your heart is, someone will weaponize it. No matter how patient your spirit is, someone less deserving will take what's yours. This isn't injustice. This is design. Society was never built to empower you. It was built to predict you. From birth you were trained to follow invisible commandments. Be nice, be humble, be loyal, be patient, be honest, be like everyone else. They call it morality, but morality, in the hands of society, is just obedience dressed as virtue. The more rules you follow, the easier you are to rule. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. He understood the good man isn't protected by the system, he is used by it. Today we tear open the 7 rules society worships, the rules that keep you weak, broke and obedient. And once you see them clearly, you will never return to the man you used to be. Rule 1. The truth is not sacred, it's strategic. They taught you always tell the truth. But the truth is a blade, and in the wrong hands, even your own honesty can cut your throat. Tell the truth to the wrong person, they'll weaponize it. Tell the truth too early, they'll steal your ideas. Tell the truth too often, you give away your power. Machiavelli warned, men judge by appearances, not facts. People see what you show them, not what you are. Society glorifies honesty because honesty makes people predictable. Predictable people are harmless. Harmless people are controllable. Radical honesty? That's just an open book handed to a thief. There are 3 kinds of honesty. Moral honesty makes you feel righteous. Social honesty makes you look righteous. Strategic honesty makes you powerful. Most people live in the first 2. The wise live in the third. Information is currency. And every time you speak, you spend it. So before you open your mouth, ask, who benefits from this truth? Me or them? The strong reveal truth like a blade, sharp, rare, deliberate. The weak spill truth like water, everywhere to everyone for free. Honesty without boundaries is self-destruction. Bounded honesty is power. Reveal what strengthens you. Conceal what exposes you. Because if they can read you completely, they can rule you completely. Rule 2. Conformity is the slow death of great men. From the moment you were born, they trained you to disappear, be normal, blend in, don't stand out, don't question, don't think differently. They call it belonging. But belonging is just obedience wearing a smile. They reward conformity because conformity maintains order, and order maintains control. People don't think, they imitate. They wear what others wear, chase what others chase, fear what others fear, dream what others dream. The system feeds them identity, and they swallow it whole. And when someone refuses to conform, someone who walks alone, speaks differently, thinks independently, they don't admire him, they attack him, because nothing terrifies the obedient more than a man who doesn't need the crowd. Machiavelli wrote, "The one who stands apart commands the crowd. The one who joins it disappears inside it." Your purpose is not to fit in. Your purpose is to stand out so severely that others must adjust to your gravity. Conformity buys safety. Individuality earns respect, and respect lasts longer than approval ever will. Walk alone. Be misunderstood. Be feared before you're followed, because the world never remembers the obedient, only the originals. Rule 3. Humility is a disguise, not a lifestyle. They praise humility only when you rise. Why? Because your success exposes their excuses. So they say, stay humble, don't get arrogant, don't make too much noise. They're not protecting your soul, they're protecting their egos. True humility is not surrender, it's camouflage. Machiavelli taught, appear merciful, faithful, humane, but only appear so, because lions who pretend to be sheep survive long enough to strike when it matters. Humility is useful, but humility as a lifestyle? That's how powerful men starve. Arrogance is foolish, but awareness of power? That is dominance. Move silently like a lion, then when the moment demands it, let the jungle remember exactly who you are. Be humble in manner, powerful in essence. Wear humility like armor, not chains. Rule 4. Niceness is a leash. They teach you to be nice, to please everyone, to never upset anyone. But the man who tries to please everyone eventually pleases no one. Niceness is not virtue, it is control. A nice man is predictable. A nice man avoids conflict. A nice man swallows disrespect and calls it being mature, and people walk over him because he taught them it was safe to. But to be strategic, kindness without boundaries is weakness. Strategic kindness is power. Be kind when it serves your purpose. Be cold when it protects your peace. Because unconditional niceness is a leash, and the person holding it is never you. Rule 5. Patience is not a virtue, it's a sedative. Be patient, they tell you. Wait your turn. Good things come to those who wait. Those soft, rehearsed lines are polite. They sound moral. They sound reasonable. They sound safe. But look closely. The ones telling you to wait are almost never the ones waiting. Their hands are full. Their plates are already served. Their calendars are booked. Their names are on lists you didn't know existed. Patience, as it's usually deployed, is a waiting room lullaby. It calms the restless. It numbs the edge off urgency. It tells you to settle into the plastic chair while others rearrange the furniture. Patience is the velvet rope that keeps you pleasant and obedient while someone else decides who gets in and who gets bumped. It is how the powerful keep you seated while they take what you're waiting for. Listening to be patient without peeling back the condition, without asking who benefits, who gains time, and whose clocks are sped up, is passive assent. It's consent offered in slow motion. Machiavelli said it simply, "Fortune favors the bold." That line is not a dismissal of prudence, it's a rejection of complacency dressed as wisdom. Power is taken, not gifted. That means the world rarely hands out opportunity as if it were a complimentary drink at a party. Doors don't open on their own for waiting strangers. Many doors are neither open nor closed. They are obstacles someone put there, and they are maintained by someone else's rules. Patience without strategy is stagnation. That's the distinction you must internalize. There's a world of difference between deliberate restraint and resignation disguised as virtue. If you are biding your time with a plan, sharpening, learning, positioning, aligning, your patience is a weapon. It is a form of precision, the pause before you strike, the rehearsal before the performance. But if your waiting is ritualized, habitual, or coerced by polite authority, it becomes sedation, a tranquilizer that blunts appetite and ambition. Let's be explicit about how patience can be weaponized against you. When you're told to wait, the timer rarely starts for you, it starts for them. The powerful leverage the expectation of patience as a cognitive tax. You spend hours calming yourself, justifying your stationary status, explaining to friends why you're still in the pipeline. Meanwhile, decisions are being made in rooms you don't know exist. Names are being scribbled into contracts. Roles are being parceled out. The person who told you to wait can very often, with a few phone calls or a decisive nod, create a new turn for themselves or for their circle. Meanwhile, you are counting minutes like a child counting stars. Rule 6. Loyalty without self-interest is slavery. They teach you early that loyalty is noble. They praise the person who never switches sides. They call staying committed the highest virtue, and there is truth to steadiness, to fidelity, to standing by what matters. But there's a difference between fidelity that elevates and fidelity that erases you. Blind loyalty doesn't make you good, it makes you a hostage. When you pledge your energy and your name to a thing that no longer protects your purpose, you become a resource drained dry. When you put someone else's demand ahead of your own integrity, you begin to lose the shape of who you are. What once felt like belonging becomes a slow disappearance. Your preferences, your voice, your self-respect reduced to footnotes in someone else's story. Machiavelli understood this plain truth. Loyalty lasts only until it conflicts with self-interest. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. It acknowledges that humans are not instruments to be played. We are agents with aims, values, and limits. Loyalty is not an obligation to be exploited. It's a currency. It has value. Like any currency, it must be spent with regard to what it buys. You owe loyalty only to what protects your purpose. Your purpose is the narrow, honest line that threads through your life. What you wait for, what you keep defending when everything else falls away. Protecting that line is not selfishness, it is stewardship. If a job, a partner, an institution, or an ideology helps you live that line, loyalty is owed. If it undermines it, loyalty becomes betrayal of yourself. When loyalty costs you your self-respect, it's no longer loyalty, it's imprisonment. Ask yourself, does this devotion require small daily betrayals? Does it ask you to ignore facts, swallow insults, or normalize harm? Does it demand that you silence your conscience? If yes, then the loyalty has shifted into leverage used against you. The cost can be subtle. missed opportunities, eroded confidence, shrinking friendships, or brutal, like being scapegoated for someone else's crimes. In every case, the result is the same. You are captive to someone else's needs. Be loyal to principles, not personalities. People change. Power corrupts. Charisma can disguise rot. Principles, honesty, fairness, justice, curiosity, courage are more reliable anchors than any individual. When a beloved person violates the principles you hold, your loyalty should follow the principle. That doesn't mean cynically discarding all human ties. It means refusing to elevate anyone above the ethical standards you've chosen to live by. Rule 7. The chase for happiness is a trap. They say life is about being happy, that your purpose is joy, that success means smiling forever. It sounds tidy, comforting, a slogan you can paste across your feed and call it doctrine. But listen, happiness, as it is sold to you, is the softest chain ever forged. Happy people don't rebel. Happy people don't challenge. Happy people don't disrupt the system. Happiness, in the way it is packaged and marketed, asks for very little of you. It prefers predictability. It asks you to lower the volume of your questions. It persuades you to choose the easy seat and keep it warm. You are rewarded for staying small. A latte, a like, a weekend getaway. Tiny currencies that buy the illusion of a life well lived. They consume, they obey, they stay comfortable while their potential rusts. Think of the quiet worker who clocks in, clocks out, and spends the rest of the night scrolling. Think of the creative who trims the edges of their voice to match what's safe and sellable. Think of whole generations trained to prefer the familiar ache of complacency to the sharp joy of becoming someone dangerous to the status quo. Society pushes happiness because happiness keeps you harmless. Laws, systems, advertisers, and dinner-table conversations all conspire, sometimes gently, sometimes with force, to keep the populace content enough to not ask awkward questions. Contentment is lubricant for the machine. A content crowd does not topple institutions. A content crowd rarely invents new languages, new politics, new arts. Contentment breeds predictability. Predictability is easy to govern. But this is not an argument against pleasure. Pleasure matters. Laughter matters. Rest is not surrender. The point is subtler. What is often sold as happiness is hollow, a surface sheen that hides rusting ambition beneath. Happiness, when pursued as an end in itself, calcifies into complacency. It becomes a mirror that reflects only what you already possess, rather than a lens through which you can see what you might become. Chasing that mirror is a way of shrinking the future down to the size of your present appetite. There is a difference between a life lived for comfort and a life lived for conquest. Comfort seeks shelter and preservation. Conquest seeks the unknown and accepts risk as an inevitable tax on meaning. Comfort says stay. Conquest says go. Comfort says protect what you have. Conquest says risk what you have to find what you could. You were not born for comfort. You were born for conquest. Conquest does not mean war and domination in the crude sense. It means daring to stretch. It means refusing the anesthetic of perpetual contentment and trading it for the rawness of growth. It means learning languages the world forgot, loving people no one else will love, building projects that take decades, failing publicly, and still returning to the work with fistfuls of new questions. Now listen carefully, because this is the part most people never reach. Breaking these rules doesn't make you heartless. It makes you sovereign. The goal is not domination. The goal is liberation. Power is not cruelty. Power is clarity. Power is choice. Power is the ability to live life on your own terms. You were not born to be controlled. You were born to command your own destiny. Today is your turning point. Today marks the death of the obedient version of you, and the birth of the strategic, sovereign, sharpened version. The world will not change, but you will. And once you do, the world will have no choice but to respond. You are no longer harmless. You are no longer silent. You are no longer blind. You are now aware, awake, responsible for your own power. Walk forward with patience but never passivity, with kindness but never compliance, with humility but never submission, with truth but never naivety. The rules they built to break you, you now use to build yourself. This is your renaissance. This is your rise. This is your return to the throne of your own life. Become the man they warned you about. Become the man you were meant to be. Become untouchable.